Ever had heartburn? Ever had bloating and indigestion? Well, one of the things that this could be an indicator of is an imbalance in your stomach acid. Many people talk about stomach acid, they have heartburn, they take TUMS, they take some sort of over-the-counter product to reduce their heartburn or whatnot. And all those are doing is actually just kind of fighting the symptom. They're not actually repairing anything or creating any better environment for your hydrochloric acid. So what does stomach acid do? Obviously, it breaks down your food. It activates enzymes in your digestion to digest proteins and complex foods as well as fats. And if you don't have that, then you're obviously not breaking it down, and then it has to go into other parts of your digestion in order for them to do so. And as we talked about before, everything is kind of a domino effect. One thing just leads to the other, and if the first one breaks down, then the second one breaks down as well. It kills harmful germs. The acid in your stomach, the hydrochloric acid, breaks down bacteria, viruses, and fungus that is in your digestion. You can see why if your hydrochloric acid is not correct or not high enough to kill those things, then again it goes into the body and can be absorbed into the body. Boosts nutrient absorption. It helps your body break down or helps your body absorb calcium, iron, magnesium, and many, many more. If it's not broke down properly, then it probably is going to be passed through in waste and not actually absorbed into the body. This can happen with supplementation at a high level because you can take the supplementation and the supplementation actually isn't even absorbed into the body. And then when acid is out of balance, you can have many different things, but we'll talk about first about indications of too much acid in the digestion, which is signs of reflux, which is acid coming up through the esophagus and you're feeling it in your chest or maybe even in your throat, known as heartburn or ulcers because it's in the heart area, even though it's in the esophagus. That's the indication of too much. It can also not necessarily be just an indicator of too much acid, but it can be the valve between the stomach and the esophagus can actually be damaged or can not close properly, and then that allows for those gases and that hydrochloric acid to actually feel like it's coming back up. And then we fight that with TUMS to knock down the acid, and then the body gets too little acid or something of that nature. So what we want to do is we want to figure out what it is that's an indicator and try a few different things to kind of eliminate what it could and couldn't be if we don't know for sure that it is too much acid. But let's assume that it is too much acid and you have heartburn because of that. Some of the natural ways that we recommend here at Magnolia to support that is to eat smaller meals. When you overeat, you fill your stomach up, your body produces acid, then it overacids to try to break that down. Some people that fast will find an overacid situation during their fast because their body was accustomed to them producing or needing to produce more acid because they're eating too much. So when they fast, that first day, especially some 24-hour fasts or even longer fasts where they're just water, the body has way too much acid and you actually can become nauseated just from the fact that you have too much acid from eating too much. So you want to eat smaller meals. That's not necessarily a bad thing. If you eat high nutrient smaller meals anyway, and only a couple a day, but you get all the nutrients and the calories your body needs, then you're probably going to be healthier anyhow. So that's actually just a common health practice that you should be doing. Limit spicy foods and acidic foods. If you eat spicy foods or you eat acidic foods and you always get heartburn, but you really like to eat them, it's probably in your best interest to decide if the pain is too much for you to stop eating them, because that's probably an indicator. What I like to call an elimination diet. We eliminate things that are causing us to have mood issues, or I guess this isn't about mood, but eliminating the acid feeling in our throat or our heartburn, and we need to eliminate those. If we eliminate those and nothing happens, then we know it probably wasn't that was the cause. Reduce caffeine and alcohol, sugar as well if you want to add to that. But acidic foods, caffeine, alcohol, you want to reduce all those basically for everything I just mentioned. Smoking, kind of at Magnolia, that's just kind of a no-brainer. I don't care what age. Alcoholic drinks, especially for over 40 years old, especially in women, does nothing but just hurt the liver and cause all kinds of estrogenic effects on men. And so alcohol in general, over 40 is just not really something that's healthy for you, regardless of how it makes you feel. Avoid lying down right after you eat. This is allowing your body to produce the acid, then you lay down and then you feel it kind of come up in your throat. So that's something that maybe you can't do, at least while we're trying to repair the gut lining. And then try soothing herbs like chamomile or licorice root. Some people use ginger, and those are natural ways for you to reduce the acid in your body, but that isn't necessarily going to solve the problem. It's just like a natural version of TUMS. And then you can consider aloe vera juice, which is anti-acidic, and then so you could try that to try to reduce the acid. But what we want to look at here is, why do you have too much acid? Is there a lifestyle change that we can do, or do we need to supplement it in a way that reduces that, but not reduces it to the point where you're not breaking down your food? If you're not breaking down your food, then the acid in your digestion is necessary, but we have to figure out a way to try to balance that. So there's going to be some challenges for that and trying to eliminate things first of all, but then also what supplements are going to work for your situation. Now, what happens if you don't have enough acid, which is actually an issue later in life? People's gut biome and their digestion in general begins to break down and not produce all of the enzymatic processes and the hydrochloric acid that it needs, and so they get a lot of bloating. Certain foods cause a lot of bloating, a lot of high carb diets, a lot of high carb meals. People will come in and be like, I get really bloated after I eat. That's a low hydrochloric acid. And so we have natural ways to do that. And so signs of, first of all, would be bloating, indigestion, and poor nutrient absorption. Many times when clients of ours come in and they'll take a supplement, or they've taken supplements in the past, they're like, I notice absolutely no effect. The first thing I want to do is look at the gut health. If you're not breaking it down properly, then you're basically just passing it through in waste. And if you spend $30 on a bottle of herbs or supplements of some kind, whether you buy them from us or buy them from the internet or the interwebs or from some side of the road stand, if you're not getting any absorption, then it really didn't matter that you were spending any money. I don't care what the quality was. So we really need to look at the gut health and make sure that it's working and make sure it's able to be converted by the liver after it is absorbed into what your body can use. So poor nutrient absorption is a really big important part of this whole scenario. But if you don't have the right amount of acid to break it down, then it really doesn't matter about your absorption. Drink warm lemon water. Lemon water helps a lot of people. Diluted apple cider vinegar can really help with the digestion. It creates an acid environment. Both of those do in the digestion, and that acid helps support the acidic nature of the stomach. It doesn't necessarily help you create more yourself, but it can help you if you were to add even just like the size of a shot of each one of those into your food when you eat halfway through your meal. At the end of the meal is not going to help as much, but you're going to be looking at a situation where the acid in apple cider vinegar and the lemon juice are probably going to help you break down your food. Eat bitter foods. Now we have a product called bitters here, which really helps with bloating, and those are creating their own breakdown. They're fermenting, breaking down. Those are arugula, dandelion greens, and ginger. They break down in the digestive system, and they actually create kind of their own biome and help you reduce the bloating, because they're creating an environment in which the food is being broken down through their own degradation or breaking down into themselves. Chew food slowly and thoroughly. The mouth is the beginning of the digestion. The saliva is the first part of breaking that down. Lubricating that is also, and as well as breaking down the bonds. And then once it reaches the stomach, then that's where it really starts to become broke down by the acid. But if you're not chewing your food and you're swallowing it whole, you're eating too fast, then you're causing your body to need more acid to break down that food. So eating slower is really important to your digestion if you have a low acid environment, really at all times. But try digestive aids like the digestive bitters product that we have here, which is basically just a liquefied version of the bitters. They do produce through their own processes an acid environment in the stomach and help break down the food. And then consider a HCI product, which is a hydrochloric acid product. Bentane, HCI, bentane, I'm not sure why I said that way. Is the product that you can buy. They even have that with enzymes in it. We carry a product here, and that if you have a low stomach acid problems and you have a lot of bloating, you take the HCI before the meal, and you take it really on a regular basis, and it helps restore kind of that acidic environment in the digestion. Hopefully we can get the body to start to produce its own, which the TUMS type of products. I use TUMS in general, but there are many different products that are like TUMS. But if you use TUMS, it knocks down the acid, and then your body doesn't need to produce the acid, and it's always constantly being knocked down. It's not very healthy for the body. So we want to look at that kind of in caution and not just always take those TUMS type products. We want to do it in a natural way in the HCI natural supplement, which is basically putting hydrochloric acid into your stomach. Is a real good way of doing that. And support gut lining with zinc and slippery elm. Slippery elm is very good with supporting the digestion. After you've had a lot of prescription drugs or antibiotics, we want to use a slippery elm product to restore the lining of the gut lining, because the gut lining is what causes everything to be absorbed. It protects the gut itself. It's basically an environment in and of itself that needs to be nurtured and protected, and a lot of stuff damages that including the food we eat, the gut lining. So the stomach is protected by a mucus layer inside, and what we eat can actually break down that mucus. okay, so that the body doesn't produce it properly. You can even genetically not produce it properly. And that protects a tremendous amount of that stomach from ulcers and things like that. So having a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle, including reduced stress, because a high stress life, actually your body might produce more acid because it's kind of a response to get more nutrients into the body. And so all of that is important in knowing how to do that. So if you have high acid in your digestion, you want to eat smaller meals, and you want to limit yourself on whatever food is really causing that, and so that you aren't constantly causing your body to feel that high acid. If you have no acid or very low acid, then you want to do something to create that environment through an HCI product or a bitters product, or bitters foods like arugula, to create the environment in your digestion so that it's actually breaking it down. Bloating is your body is creating the wrong gas from the breaking down of food, and that gas causes you literally to blow up. And so you don't want that gas to be in your digestion. You want it to be breaking down properly through the acid that breaks down the food and then passed into the small intestine, not creating some gas through really the rotting of the food. And so that's kind of what's happening in there. So there's stomach acid in a real quick summary in general, and two things you can do if you have two things that can happen, which is high acid and low acid, and some of the natural ways that you can help hopefully prevent or support that body system.